just get started. Okay.
Good
Yeah,
afternoon, our friends from around the world. It's another of our African series. Today, we're going to be discussing the coalition being muted by EFF of South Africa, along with right-wing parties across Europe. And with me to discuss and analyze are my brothers, Mustafa from United States of America and Lerato from South Africa. I'm still Afolabi. I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. You're very welcome, guys.
Welcome. You made a mistake. I'm not from the United States of America. I'm from the United States of disarray.
Mix up and
Disarray.
disarray.
Yeah. So let's jump into it. So we'll start off with Afabi, what have you seen? What aspect do you want to focus on the coalitions? Because there's all kinds of coalitions going on. I actually think it's a good thing. I think there's a fracturing in South Africa, which is important to bring about all sides, DA, everybody, to negotiate and do a new. That's later though. Let's go back to what you have to say. Sorry, I got carried away.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically, the main concern for Julius Malema is he says he wants to coalesce with MK Party, emphasizing that they are united fronts in opposition to ANC and DA. They want to form an alliance that would be in opposition to ANC and DA. So basically, the party they want to coalesce with is MK. So, but his problem is
Yeah.
it appears ANC and DA might be looking at positions in government as against principles of the party and ideologies, which are the aspects he's really focusing on, and not what positions you are given at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
what number of
Yeah.
cabinet ministers fall to your party and stuff like that. He's more about bringing ideologies and principles together as against positions in government, because it tends to see ANC as already
Yeah.
corrupt. It tends to see ANC as already corrupt. So he criticized ANC for removing MMC without consulting EFF leadership, highlighting previously, like from a video I watched, that they had a good working relationship before ANC decided to work with DA. So what they're trying to do is to build an alliance in opposition to ANC and DA, basically.
Yeah. So what I think quickly is that as time goes on, Malema will learn that it's just like Game of Thrones. It's very logistical. You have to make deals, and you still hold on to your ideology, but I call it, you shape your ideology. You've tried to get as many things that fit into a line with your ideology, but you're going to have to negotiate with MK,
Of course,
DA.
compromise. You have to make
Yeah,
compromises.
and I won't say negotiate with ANC because I don't think ANC has an agenda at all. I don't. So ANC is just right. They have a power base because they still get votes. But my prediction is as elections continue, ANC will dwindle if they don't get rid of Ramaphosa. They have a decision to make. If they keep Ramaphosa and they sign up with the DA, they're going to become a wing of the DA, and it will be one party. And then so what Malema needs to do is just realize he has to play the political game, but he also needs, and I think this is where we're going to come in because we're going to start writing. He needs someone to write and show what needs to be done. I'm kind of bragging, but no, not just us. South Africa needs to have economists, activists, and people who show us what the Constitution needs to look like and show us how to live in harmony with
Yes, I agree
white,
with you.
black, colored, Zulu,
yeah,
COSA,
you
everything,
know,
Betty. But it's going to be a negotiation, and I think what we're seeing is the process of that happening. Not worry from Lerato. Sorry, guys, man, I'm out of it. It's wine. So Lerato,
yeah,
yeah. What are your thoughts? We're gonna let you go. You're gonna talk to us now for a couple of minutes. Thank you. Yeah.
yeah, no, man. I think one of the things that I've noticed about this post-election space is that everybody's been playing sort of like the short game,
Yeah.
but the capitalists have been playing the long
Yep.
game. It's like everyone is confusing the black and white squares for checkers, but they're in the middle of a chess game
Mm-hmm.
that that the West has been sort of manipulating
Three
throughout.
dimensional chess versus checkers.
Yeah, 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 yes, because I mean, there's been this conversation around. In fact, for the past 2 weeks, we've been closely watching the markets, right? Seeing what the markets are doing in response to the meetings that are happening,
Private
And the
meetings, they don't
problem
want to
that
talk about what they're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, and actually one of the main problems is that these meetings have been happening in private.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you're trying to start a government of national unity, you need to have a people's national convention.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry to cut you. I'm angry at you because you stole my words. I wanted to say that there needs to be a people's union and also a labor union, and they need to sit in on every one of those meetings. That's what Cuba does.
Exactly. There needs to be a national people's convention that will include, of course, a lot of the unions and all those guys. They were talking from the sidelines,
Mm-hmm.
and the conversation were happening politician to politician or party between party
Yeah.
and party, and not so much within the open. So we partly don't know some of the deals that happened within.
Oh yeah, and it's the corporate move, and this is why it's important for people like you who are activists and also what they call it, the new word in vague, community worker. But no, this is important because we have to, and also guys like us and Folabi, we actually have to start connecting with each other and going into the grassroots to bring out this idea, like what you said. The average person in the rural area needs to know about BRICS. They need to know about everything. They need to be informed.
Yeah.
I'll just use the word. I'll call it a socialist revolution. That's what a real socialist revolution is when the farmer, the person who fixed tires on the roads, the person who's an electrician, all of them are highly educated in everything. And the state is a function of the negotiation between everybody's knowledge and where we need to go. So thank you. Continue.
Yeah. So there's this game of positioning that is happening, as Afolabi was saying. Like people are brokering for positions in the state that they think would be important for them to sort of add their own political influence in terms of agenda and things like that.
But it's like what I said on our last post. It's just business, man. It's money. Money. But continue.
It's just business. Like
they're jockeying for position for a piece of the pie.
Yeah, it's just business. And yeah, I think, I mean, also, I mean, I've been looking, as I said to you last week, that I've been looking at the global trend. So you're getting that movement, but
Moose, are you there?
We were pivoting and talking. So we were pivoting and talking about the right-wing movements. So you can continue with that for a little bit, and then we'll wait for when Salim gets in. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. So what we are seeing, I mean, even with Emmanuel Macron wanting to jump into the election game also, all of a sudden, because he's seen this shift to the right in his own country as well, symbolizes this this shift, or this tug of war that is happening between the left and the right. But yeah, those are some of the things that I think we're starting to see and
Yeah.
and of course we're seeing all of this also with the Israel and
Yeah.
Palestine
The right, because
invasion
sorry, very
as
quickly. Sorry,
mm,
leading up to the thing that happened with October 7th, in order to get power, Netanyahu went with Ben Gavir. Those guys who were on the right, they're Nazis. He aligned with them so he could have power. So you see the shift to the right. And before the war started, he was about to be kicked out of office because he was violating the rights of the judiciary in Israel. Continue. I'm just showing you how the dynamic works. Continue. Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I think, I mean, I think this the having this conflict as a backdrop and what comments have been coming from the West with regards to Israel
Yeah.
um, and Palestine, then you're beginning to see this pull from the right, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that is pro-Israel,
Yeah.
and you know, and
Okay.
this is one of the things that is making what used to be some kind of like a covert agenda a little bit more overt.
Okay. It's outright.
You know, I mean, yeah, I think it used to be a little bit low key and
Yeah.
subterranean. We knew that they were right wing, and this is what they think.
So let
But I think the two conflicts, actually, the Russia conflict and the Israeli conflict, makes those things very clear.
oh yeah,
Of
yeah,
course, they've always been clear on where they stand with Russia,
yeah,
and they've always been very clear on where they stand with China, for example.
yeah.
Um, but the amount of violence that we see in Gaza that they've been standing behind makes it a lot more apparent what the imperialist and colonial powers
You stole
still
my word.
believe in.
Is
This
the empire is taking his
neoliberal,
mask off. The empire is taking his mask off. That's it.
this whole neoliberal agenda is being exposed.
Yeah,
So all those things are starting to show themselves, you know. So
yeah.
we see it here with ratings agencies, with the World Bank and the IMF coming
Also
in
charging black people
and
10
saying,
take money out of their ATM.
yeah, yeah, you know, I mean, they were saying out loud that they would prefer an ANC and DA alliance, and I mean that is basically interfering with sovereignty, you know, of the nation, because talks are still happening, people are still negotiating, um, but they are already reaching conclusions as to what will be better for the market,
which is not good,
because
which is very
yeah,
selfish, really, very selfish.
Yes.
yeah. So now when you look uh, at this national government of government of national unity, which is based on this table of business negotiations, as opposed to based on the idea of social justice. We are very aware, which is something that also Malema was saying, that you know it looks like things like NSFAS, the student, the free education bursary program is at stake. Um, Things like minimum wage, which the previous six administrations sort of worked on on creating a level of minimum wage and all those kinds of things. And this is because workers were not part of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
negotiation.
Yeah.
This is because
Yeah.
communities were not part of the negotiations. Students were not part of these negotiations, or youth leagues,
So
so that they could advocate for keeping these things. So these things are at risk,
yeah.
unless you have the ANC sort of um, really trying to be central and flip flopping.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, as I was saying, that you know, I think the capitalists were playing a long game. The ANC is heavily compromised. Ramaphosa is heavily compromised, and You know, people think Ramaphosa has only been compromised since maybe like
Oh, he's been compromised since the scandal in Maracana. Even before that, he was on the
no,
board of the company that brought in policemen to shoot those guys. He was on the board.
Marikana is the late stage of
Late
his
stage.
state
That's
of
I mean,
compromise.
as far back as
It's
that.
late stage.
Yeah, he stayed.
So
But let's move on.
as far back as the 80s or even the 70s,
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah, when he was some kind of unionist,
Union leader, and
who
usually
who
yeah.
who was influencing workers on
Yeah.
behalf of the corporations.
Okay.
He's been compromised. So you see that like this is the chess game is like it's a long game, and people are only looking at Marikana and Phala Phala now. But those things are because, especially Phala Phala, because it is criminally implicating. It puts him in a very difficult position,
Well, that means he
and
has
for
to do
him
what
to
his funders tell him to do. Yeah, he has to do.
and for him to
Same thing
keep
with
the
Biden.
DA's mouth shut,
Yeah.
he has to sort of
So let's give it. We said a lot.
toe the line.
Yeah. Sorry to cut because we have to move on, but I'm going to.
Sure.
The first thing that you said was that there's a right movement and it's attacking the left. What I want to say is that what we call people like Macron and Biden and the Democrats, they're not left. True left is Cabral. True left is Castro. That's the left. They're using their word left as if they are left of the people who they call right, but they are neoliberals and they don't stand for anything. They have no position on the political grid. They're warmongers. They're killers. Macron is a killer. He has destroyed the lives of Ukrainians, along with Biden and other people.
I think that they're anesthetics.
They're what?
Yes,
anesthetics.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not left. The true left, the meaning of left is that government's economy is controlled heavily by the government for the well-being of the people. That's the meaning of left. Macron is not that. He is basically a neoliberal and a liberal. Same thing with Biden. Now, the right wing, like you said, we all know who they are. They're bigot. They don't believe in gay. They don't like blacks. They don't believe in immigrants. But the reaction is because people like Macron are the heads of the empire. The empire functions on imperialism, taking stuff from Congo, things like that, killing people, and having no value at all. Oh, we're not racist, but we'll kill people in Congo, not because they're black, but because we want their minerals. You see what I'm saying?
No, I think like they are anesthetics.
Yeah,
that's what they are. They serve the position of
more dangerous than the so-called right, because at least the right has some principles. Although we don't like the right principles. Yeah, we don't like their principles. Yeah. So what are your thoughts?
So they just serve the purpose of numbing down the resistance, you know, so that they think someone hears them, but really,
and also coming up. Trust me, I'm in favor of gay marriage, LGBT, whatever, but they use identity politics to make people think that's the only important thing. Whereas the real important thing is the class divide and also the way that societies systematically work racist, whether you are racist or not. There's a systematic function which divides based on race and class. And they don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about you should be called she when you are a male, which is okay. But my thing is that's not a constitutional right. It's not a constitutional right. Now you have the right to call yourself she, but you don't have the right to tell me to say you are she. I'm not saying if someone tells me to say she, I'll do it. But my point being is that the real problem that we have in the world now is what's happening in Palestine, what's happening in Congo, where there was a coup, almost a coup attempt, and there were American mercenaries there. Nobody talks about that, about how many people are getting killed in Congo. So my thing is, before we talk about identity politics, let's talk about race. Same thing with feminism. Feminism is a movement, but if you're a white female, your life is more valuable than if you are a black male. So that divide between sexes also, it only functions within white women and white men. Maybe white men have more power, but black women and black men are below in the ideology of this world. What do you think, Salim? And we'll get back to you, also, Larato. This is a really deep conversation. What are your thoughts, Salim?
Talking on what's happening in the Congo at the moment. We should remind ourselves that it's our very own folks that allow these vampires to actually suck the DRC dry.
Exactly. Yeah.
As I once mentioned before, that we have to look into William Ruto and Paul Kagame for their hands, because their hands are bloody. That's me being honest. As much as you can come onto the media and say that the Western cannot tell you what to do, but you are actually under their hand, and they don't really mind. You see, talking on the politics of I think on a global level, and having to have the idea of what the Belgians, because we won't forget what the Belgians did to the DRC. I'm still stuck on that part where whilst everything is happening, you are you are advocating for Palestine, but you have blood on your hands. So until you rectify the mistake of your forefathers, this is what I'm going to say. Until you rectify the mistake of your forefathers, meaning if you want peace in DRC, send in troops then.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I'm tired of us. We need to leave we need to leave the United Nations. We need to leave. We need to have an African Union like ECOWAS in Nigeria, which sent people to help Liberia. We as Nigeria and South Africa and Libya, well, there's no more Libya because the US destroyed it, and Egypt. We need to be sending troops there, not to kill people, but only to kill in defending life and securing that area. Get rid of those warlords. And before you get rid of them, negotiate with them. You come with your weapons and you say, we don't believe in murder. We don't believe in violence. But if you guys don't step down, we will bring the wrath of God or any other one on you if you don't stop. And we need to leave the United Nations. We're not part of their Security Council. They don't support our lives. I don't see Russia and China jumping in to help Palestinian kids. I don't see it.
Very true.
I don't see them jumping in. They're saying stop, but they're not jumping in to stop. But everybody came to get rid of Saddam Hussein. Everybody in the world sent troops to get rid of him. But we're not getting rid of Ben Gvir and those guys who are killing children. What are your thank you very much, Salim. We're running out of time, but we're going to continue this next week. This is a two-part thing. Thank you. You had very brilliant things. And the main thing you said is that we are allowing Congo to go down. And I'm going to speak truth. Nigeria wanted to send people to fight people in Niger for French or radio. Same thing in South Africa. There's a xenophobia problem where they call other people from Mozambique, oh, you're a foreigner, query. All of this, I'm not taking sides. I'm not trying to attack South Africa, but all of this needs to stop. Continue.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk broadly about what Lerato said when he was talking about minimum wage. We have that problem in Nigeria too. The Labour Congress has been on strike for some time. They're trying to make the government understand that what we need here in Nigeria is not just a minimum wage, but a living wage. And that's one of the problems that they have in South Africa. What ANC has been able to do is not enough for the people to afford services, basic services. And so they feel with their limited power structure, if there's influence from other parties, those areas will be addressed, because living wage is one of the most important, most critical factors in any government. Malema criticized the DA for not adhering to their principles regarding coalition leadership and accused ANC of similar inconsistencies. Now, ANC has failed people, and people want their influence to be limited. That is why they're emphasizing this coalition thing. So what I believe is that Malema stressed EFF's strategic focus on growing their base. They may not have the majority now, but they want to grow their base. And they are trying to, they want to make their influence more known in South Africa, so that as the years go by, as ANC is diminishing, they can continue to have influence and control.
Here's what I foresee. I think this is sort of like, this is like what we call a good accident. The accident of ANC going with DA and now EFF having to go with
MK
is actually good, because now it's creating two centers of power which have 4 different sectors. So you have EFF and
they're in opposition, really.
Now what that's going to lead to is dialectic, and the dialectic will lead to a deliberation in which there will be a balance. But like Lerato said, there's one more element that needs to be there, the people's union. And then what will happen? It'll be a fight. It's like me, you, Salim, and everybody negotiate. I want this, I want that. But then we realize that we're stuck together. And now we have to deal with China and Russia and going to BRICS. And if things don't happen, there'll be a fight in the country and people will get killed and DA will lose votes. It's going to force them to compromise. And I think compromise is good so long as, like you said living wage. What I say is that the South African Constitution should guarantee free housing and water for people who need it that can't afford it.
Basic
There
services.
should be a scale. Continue, Lerato. Continue. We'll let Lerato.
What I think, and this will be my last point. Like what I think the Constitution has tried to do and should continue doing is to try and enshrine the idea of social justice, and this also then comments to the global perspective, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what Afolabi is saying about the idea of a living wage. It's not only a living wage, but it's also like livable conditions, a livable environment, an environment where
sometimes wages may not be allowed if the market is bad. So we can't just rely on wages. But
it has to be an environmental dynamic that is livable, where businesses can thrive, where subsistence farming can thrive, where communities can.
And very quickly, nobody, whether you're white or black, whether you're white or black, you should not have to pay for university or healthcare. Continue.
Communities should be able to make localized decisions about localized problems. What we spoke about last week, the issues of environmental well-being, because people who are at threat, people without housing, people without adequate living spaces, people living in wetlands and without land and
security. Also, you don't want to be somebody could bang down your door and rape you. I'm serious.
Healthcare.
Those healthcare. Those are all social justice issues, because if you're providing those things, if you're providing education, there's less crime. If you're providing if you're providing food, if you're providing health
security, then you need less security after that.
Exactly. So they become less and less need.
Like I feel like in the middle of Isalico, where I grew up, nobody robs anybody, nobody breaks into their house, or if you do it, you have to be very careful because the community is together. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
For sure. And that's where it's at, and this is the direction that we need to be moving to, as opposed to this capitalized, market chasing, that the DA and the ANC are going to be doing. The ANC is going to market chase because basically they are a capitalist, party. In as much as you might say they don't have a foundation, but they are capitalist in their desires, and they've always been from the beginning. They wanted to enjoy
in the 40s away from them, or 60s. Thank you.
So they're going to be market chasing, and that's the problem, as opposed to addressing issues of social justice, which we've been trying to address for the past 30 years, and even before then, during apartheid.
The problem is that we don't have a platform. This is a platform, YouTube. I don't really like YouTube. We don't have a platform. That's why we have to start at the ground roots and spread and be logistical. No amount of social media is going to lead this movement. We actually have to we have to, as activists, start working in our neighborhoods and build up. Yeah. Continue, Lerato. Then we have to get out in about a minute or two. Yeah.
No. I was just saying it has to be localized.
It has to be localized. Is Salim with us, or is he out? I think he might be out. Yeah,
he's out.
Oh, no problem. Let me tell you guys, unbelievable show. I'm not exaggerating. Very beautiful. Thank you. And it's too much to do in one session, so we're going to continue with this again next Saturday. African Agenda. Take us out, Afolabi, please. And also, happy birthday to Afolabi. It was his birthday yesterday. We love you very much.
Happy birthday, Afolabi.
Thank you very much.
He's 21 years old. 21 today.
It was wonderful. It has been a wonderful talk with you guys, and very enlightening and very educative. We'll join you again in a week's time to deal with
Continue.
more.
We're going to continue right wing and the agenda.
Yes, more contemporary issues. And from me, Lerato, and Mustafa Jinodu, it's ciao till next week. Thank you very much.
Bless you guys.
Peace,
Enjoy your
peace.
weekend. Thank you very much. Okay.